Jim has fluctuated between playing Obzon Control and Dissolve strategies throughout the last year or so of Standard. And Noah, I've seen him play Jeskai, I believe, every time that we've had him on camera in a Standard tournament.
Well, we are underway here in round number 3 from Worcester. Davis with a Sandstep Citadel. We'll see if Walker maybe has the Tri-Land to match with the Mystic Monastery. Instead, he'll go with the Temple of Epiphany. It's time to scry. We'll see where this card will go. Looks like it's going to stay on top here for Davis as we, for Walker as we head back Davis's way.
Noah also with no copies of Hangerback Walker in his list.
Haven't seen very many to start the weekend. Here's a Thoughtseize for Davis. Get an idea of what Walker's working with. You got a Mystic Monastery, a Battlefield Forge, a Jace, a Burmaz, a Wild Slash, a Soulfire Grandmaster, and it looks like a Magma Spray.
Noah's hand, very strong against aggressive decks.
Yeah.
Not very good against control decks.
The only what Jim's doing.
The only really good thing going on in this hand for a control matchup is the copy of Jason. If Jim can't kill it, he can now Thoughtseize it away.
See, Jim's going to write down the contents of the grip here. We'll see what card he wants to take here. Jace obviously very powerful, Burmaz quite powerful, though Davis does have a copy of Hero's Downfall in hand.
In game 1, Davis's strategy here is pick apart the few relevant cards that Jeskai brings to the table and eventually glut Walker with a handful of shocks and 2/2s for 2 that don't amount to much.
Well, there goes the Jace, another Sandstep Citadel, and now we're going to head back Noah Walker's way. There's Soulfire Grandmaster for Noah. He'll take 1 from the Battlefield Forge. And Davis will draw. Picked up a copy of Plains.
And Davis with a very strong hand here. Removal spells, including Bile-Blight, Hero's Downfall, a Den Protector to play towards. He's not going to want to just put that face down because he still knows about the Wild Slash going on in Walker's hand, but he's got a very good curve of removal here, and I think Walker is going to have some trouble getting much of anything going.
There's no board for Davis. Bile-Blight's going to take care of the Soulfire Grandmaster, or at least it'll try to. And it will succeed.
I like the patience there for Davis, waiting until Walker attacked, and in the event that Walker drew a Manus Rider in the intervening turns, he would have killed that instead.
Yep, no rush.
Yep.
Gotta remember, these Obzon control decks very, very powerful. We saw a mirror of Obzon control in the finals of the World Championships. Seth Manfield, Owen Turtenwald. Obzon's not going anywhere.
No.
There's a forest there for Davis. He'll just pass the turn back.
Hero's Downfall replacement coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, Ruinous Path. We'll be talking about that one, that's for sure. There's a Flooded Strand. This has been land Walker wants to dig out of the deck. He'll go with a Plains. Let's see what's next here for Noah. Looks like it'll be that Burmaz. That'll resolve. And we know Davis has Hero's Downfall. Seems like a pretty good target. There's point and click removal spell. Sandstep Citadel the draw here for Davis, though he is flooding out quite a bit here. The follow-up is going to be a Morph. Feels like a Den Protector.
So he has the Den Protector, and he has whatever removal spell he gets back. But as you mentioned, at that point, he's on nothing. Now, a lot of good draws in the deck. He's got a variety of good 5 and 6 mana spells he can draw here. Even something like Nissa is very good as he's approaching 7 mana, but he is running out of action a little bit here.
Wild Slash is going to go after the Den Protector. On Megamorph, we'll bring back a Hero's Downfall, and we head back Walker's way. Davis currently tapped out. See if Noah can potentially take advantage.
Very important for Noah to either have a threat here or a dig through time.
Just something to do.
Yeah.
Another Den Protector to draw here for Davis. Maybe get the loop going.
The game is being played at a slow enough pace here. Walker's hand probably just counter spells, removal spells, potentially lands, although he missed a land drop last turn.
Sandstep Citadel there for Davis before passing the turn back. Here, Stoke the Flames. We're just going upstairs.
And Jim there not casting the Den Protector out of respect for Ojutai's command. That would have been a spot where it still would have been fine for Walker to Ojutai's command in a turn just to draw a card and get the Jace back. So I like Davis's patience there, not running his Den Protector. He's flooding out, so he's got to get maximum mileage out of all of his cards at this point.
Also, he's not in a rush, right?
Yep.
Not a lot going on at this point in the game. Noah doesn't have any really real pressure like a Mantis Rider or something, so Jim can kind of just play this draw, go game with a removal spell in hand and a Den Protector at the ready. And I feel like he's pretty comfortable doing just that.
There might be more of an impetus for Davis to get something going if his life total was a little bit lower, but at 14, if Walker's hand is just burn spells, Davis can wait an awfully long time.
I think he's pretty comfortable playing this waiting game.
Yeah. The big risk is dig through time.
It's always scary.
Yep.
No argument there, believe me. Here's Jeskai Charm. Well, this starts to become a little scary, right? Because now you're, all right, I'm down to 10. Okay, I don't want to get burned out, but it feels like maybe that's what you're trying to do here. So it starts to get a little bit scary, I think. At least, I mean, it's something that Jim has to at least think about now, because it seems like that's the way that Noah's trying to go now. Courser of Crew Fix is a pretty nice draw to maybe start buffing the life total a little bit.
But if Davis's plays here have been out of respect for Ojutai's command, he might have to lead off with the Den Protector, because the Den Protector is good enough to bait out an Ojutai's command, and then you can resolve the Courser.
Okay.
And he's got enough mana here. He's got 8, so he can cast the Den Protector. If that resolves, he can cast the Courser, and he still has the mana left over to unmegamorph the Den Protector should that come up.
Here's Courser.
So I guess Jim trying to take this in another direction where he wants the Ojutai's command being used on this, and then the Den Protector can get back the Courser if he thinks it's appropriate.
A lot of different ways to go.
Yes.
There's Jace.
But now Jim's hand is kind of forced just to use Hero's Downfall this turn, because I think it's too much to allow Noah to untap, activate the Jace, get a removal spell back, and either kill your play or, start burning you out.
Well, Jace is gone. I saw Language clear some things up here. So what's next here for Walker? There's a threat. This actually matters quite a bit now, too.
Mantis Rider was a great draw in that spot.
Yeah, Davis going to go down to 7. This burnout plan that Noah Walker's trying to put together looks a little bit more realistic now, especially if there's no answer to the Mantis Rider. We know that there is. Hero's Downfall in hand to go along with that Den Protector, but things do get a little bit scary. See how Davis wants to move forward here.
Well, he certainly cannot take another hit from the Mantis Rider.
No. That option is not on the table.
So this turn, this turn is just what's the most efficient thing I can do while also allowing myself to Hero's Downfall the Mantis Rider.
Sure. Taking a hit, definitely not an option.
And I think that Jim really wants to be able to get back the Courser here, because then he can start pulling ahead with life.
Okay.
Get himself out of burn range. If he takes another removal spell here, then he's on, a Downfall and a Bile Blight in hand or whatever the case is, but he's still at 7, and he's very vulnerable to just Lightning Strike plus Stoke the Flames or some mixture of cards like that. Dig Through Time can yield 2 burn spells that can kill him pretty easily.
Close you out that way.
So I think the Courser is the priority to get back here if Davis can afford to do it.
Well, there's the morph. It's the Den Protector. We know that. Noah doesn't, but he could probably guess as much.
Davis using the Downfall there. I think my preference would have been for him to wait until Walker went into combat, because while the Den Protector's up, there's no way for Walker to play a second Mantis Rider because Davis has a Bile Blight in the graveyard. And now suddenly, if Walker has drawn Mantis Rider, it's available.
It gets bad.
Right.
Sure.
Davis is playing around the possibility that there's some weird counterspell in Walker's deck against what I believe to be the more likely scenario, which is simply that there's a Manus Rider.
Okay. Well, now there is. So in. So this was bad here for Davis. Now all of a sudden, those 4 damage burn spells, and taking a look at Noah Walker's deck list, the Jeskai Charm's been used, and actually the Stoke the Flames has been used. Now he can chain together things like Wild Slash and Lightning Strike, and Jace can rebuy some things, but the other thing too is that Jim doesn't know that.
Yes.
You know? When you see Jeskai Charm, you might think of that's incoming in heavy numbers, and you can think the same thing for Stoke the Flames as well. So you don't know the numbers in your opponent's deck unless you actually have the deck list, which we know Jim does not. He'll play a face-down Den Protector.
Davis is a little bit safer than you would assume in this spot because of Walker's deck list here. Does not have a full complement of Stoke the Flames.
When you're a 4 against Jeskai, you normally don't feel safe.
Especially against someone who's shown Jeskai Charm. That usually is implying there's a lot of deal 4s in the deck. So Davis is actually in okay shape. Dig Through Time is still very dangerous because that can easily heal 2 spells that can kill Davis in this spot. And Jace is very dangerous as well because Jace is dangerous. Ojutai's Command is dangerous as well. But there aren't that many deal 4s in Walker's list, fortunately for Davis.
Bioblade will take care of the Manus Rider. Going back Noah Walker's way. 2 cards in Walker's hand now. We'll just pass the turn back over to Davis. In comes Den Protector for 3. You know, one thing that Davis hasn't drawn that can really pull him out of some trouble here is a card like Siege Rhino.
Yeah, that would be a huge draw. Increases the clock, gives him some life to play with.
For what it's worth, Siege Rhino always a huge draw. Can't sell the big fella short.
Against Jeskai decks, it's one of the best cards in the matchup, almost no matter what their list looks like.
Another Den Protector here. Gonna unmegamorph. Let's see what Davis wants to get back now. Looks like he's gonna go with Courser. Maybe try to get his life gain on. There is Courser. Let's take a look at that top card. Temple of Silence, Trigger, 2 of them. 1 for Scry, 1 for Courser. Davis up to 5. Top card there, Abzan Charm. That's an interesting one. Don't think Jim wants to draw cards with that, but there's a lot of relevant text on that card.
Well, he can use it on his creatures to increase the clock.
Yep.
It is a removal spell, although not against that many threats that Walker can bring to the table. Most of his creatures are either too small or hypothetical Stormbreath Dragon is immune as well. So you're really only looking at Manus Rider as the card that this reliably kills. Walker's already played 2.
I guess the question you got to ask if you're Jim is it better than a random draw? Top card, he's going to put that. Okay, well, good choice, I guess.
The thing is, Davis's random draws are pretty good in this spot because lands are also good for him. So I like putting the Charm to the bottom.
Lightning Strike goes upstairs. There's a basic island. Davis is down to 2. Davis going to draw a copy of Siege Rhino. Top card there is a Nissa. Davis will play a Caves of Koilos, trigger the Corsaries up to 3.
And now this is really bad news for Walker because Davis is pulling himself up to 6 with the Siege Rhino.
Well, maybe. So the reason I say maybe is Jim's got to cast it first, right? Because Oshai's Command is definitely a concern.
Yes.
Now here is Siege Rhino, and it's going to resolve. So now he is pulling himself to 6. Here come the beatdowns. And now Noah Walker, he might be on a no for now.
Yeah, I mean, Ojutai's Command, Jim is just dead.
Yep.
Because he counters, he gets back Jace, and Jace kills him.
Yep.
Can't beat that card regardless.
Sure.
But assuming that the Rhino does resolve, it's very hard for Walker to dig through time into 2 lightning strikes. It becomes very tough for him to kill that turn, and he absolutely has to.
That's why we see him concede the game. Jim Davis will win game number 1 here over Noah Walker. I was on control, up a game over Jeskai Aggro, which means we'll take a look at the sideboards here, and we'll take a look at Noah Walker's first and his 3 Arashan Clerics, 2 Disdainful Strokes, 2 Negates, 2 Stratus Dancers, 2 Anger the Gods, a Tragic Arrogance, Glare of Heresy, a Revoke Existence, take that hanger back, Walker, and a nice one in the matchup, Elspeth Sun's Champion.
Elspeth's very solid here. The counter spells and Stratus Dancer, Negate, Disdainful Stroke, all good. Those will be coming in. I don't think that Walker wants to go too heavy into the control route. There's something like Tragic Arrogance here if he's suiting up for a very long game, but I suspect that Jim plays that sort of game better than Walker does, even with Walker bringing in the counter spells. So I would definitely bring in the counter spells. I would bring in the Elspeth as well, but I don't think I would go so far as to bring in Tragic Arrogance. I think Glare of Heresy is acceptable for this matchup too.
Let's take a look at Jim Davis and his 15 cards.
2 copies of Drowned Sorrow, a Glare of Heresy, a Dramoka's Command, 2 copies of Tragic Arrogance, an Ugin the Spirit Dragon, a Read the Bones, a Tassiger, the Golden Fang, an Ultimate Price, a Duress, 3 copies of Fleecemane Lion, and a copy of Self-Inflicted Wound. Definitely like the Dramoka's Command in the matchup, like the Glare of Heresy as well. Past that, there's some okay options here. I think something like the Duress, the Ugin, the Fleecemane Lions are all okay. None of them strike me as being that excellent, so Jim might be sideboarding very light here. He might go a little bit further and bringing things like the Fleecemane Lions.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 2. Noah Walker will be on the play for that game. In the meantime, we will talk about the Star City Games newsletter. It is your source for Magic the Gathering news, and it is very easy to sign up for.
Yeah, all the best content from Star City Games curated by Cedric Phillips here. You get all the information about the goings-on of the Open Series, including a match of the week. You get a column with some exclusive deck building tips from some of our premium columnists and an exclusive Cardboard Crack comic. Best of all, signing up right now is free over at starcitygames.com/newsletter.
Breaking out the F word in round 3.
Free.
Just free to sign up for. Super easy stuff. Jim Davis, a player we're going to see at the end of the year at our Players Championship. We call him number 84. And that's because he's a hockey player, 31 from Long Island, New York. That's not too far from here, right?
It's still a drive.
Yeah?
Yeah, you got to. Yes, it is. It's still a drive.
Bit of a hike? Okay,
yes.
Fair enough. 2 invitational top 8s, 2011 in Indianapolis and a 2014 season 4 when we were in Seattle last year. 8 Open Series top 8s with 1 win. That was in Indianapolis during season 1 of this year. And then he's got 1 GP top 8 as well. Grand Prix Dallas 2007 with Goblins. Teaches writing at a private school. He's a local DJ, and he loves hockey. You see he's wearing a San Jose Sharks hockey jersey this weekend. You'll always find him in a hockey jersey, and he signs playmats with number 84, his hockey number.
Number 84, DJ JD. A couple really good nicknames here.
A branding genius, Jim Davis. Rivaling only James Harden, the breakfast defector, who I know you are a big fan of.
Oh, yeah. A savant of marketing.
Seen a lot of Jeskai in the room here this week, and it's a small sample size because we've only watched a couple of rounds so far, but we haven't seen Hangerback Walker yet. Now, I'm not saying Hangerback Walker isn't here this weekend because it has to be, but I'm a little bit surprised to see how much Jeskai we're seeing so far this weekend.
Well, Jeskai can pretty easily fight Hangerback Walker. Flyers are powerful. Hangerback Walker has spots of being very good against flying because you can make a sea of tokens, but that requires some effort. You have access to removal that exiles like Magma Spray. So, and these cards are not hard for you to add to your deck. You're already playing with the flying creatures, and Magma Spray just replaces some wild slashes, and that's a pretty easy change to make. So if you're looking to play a stock good deck that also has good game against Hangerback Walker specifically, Jeskai is a fine choice.
Pretty straightforward stuff.
Yep, no, even with a Revoke Existence in his sideboard for good measure.
And well, as far as Abzan's concerned, well, it's Abzan. Like, there's not really a lot to say in my opinion. It's Abzan. It's not going anywhere.
It'll be interesting to see how the list looks when we have Battle for Zendikar in a big rotation, because I think some things are going to be changing. Ruinous Path in place of Hero's Downfall and no Drowned Sorrow means haste and small creatures in general will become a lot better against this deck. I think things like Manus Rider might get a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
You know, Bile-Blight leaves the format and Ultimate Price doesn't kill it. So the answers that Abzan needs are going to be different. And the threats that they're going to struggle to answer are going to be different this time around too. So be cool to see how the deck evolves. It'll definitely be around in some form or another, but the specifics, I think, could look very different from what the list looks like right now.
So far, Grandmaster is where Walker will start things off a Mystic Monastery and a Mountain. For Davis, he's got a Forest to kick things off.
Even the expensive cards, when you don't have Courser Crewfix in your deck, it just becomes a lot harder to play with 6 and 7 and 8 mana spells.
Oh, things definitely change. And one of their 6 mana spells, Elspeth, is rotating.
Yes.
So they've got to find a new kind of top of the line payoff card because Elspeth was really the ultimate payoff card.
I think that Abzan Charm and Siege Rhino are good enough for the deck to exist in some form or another, no matter what happens. But there's a lot of things going on that make it potentially much harder for Abzan going forward once we have the rotation.
So far, Grandmaster going to come across the red zone. Davis down to 18, Walker up to 22. We'll play another Mystic Monastery. And it looks like he's just going to pass the turn back. Davis will take a draw step. Elspeth Sun's Champion is what he's found. Only 2 more weeks of that. But what a card that one has been.
Format defining closer.
You had to work for it. 6 mana is not cheap, but if you got there, it was definitely worth the cost. Here's Llanowar Waste. Looks like Davis does have a copy of Nissa. I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of that card after rotation.
Absolutely. For these mid-range decks that are trying to get to, big mana plays and looking for some value in the mid-game, this card's going to have to do.
And Basic Force has been found. Lightning Strike will take care of that. Walker will gain 3 life from the Lightning Strike thanks to the Soulfire Grandmaster, and he's very quickly taking his turn. There's a Temple of Epiphany. Take a look at the top card. That's going to stay on top there for Walker. Here comes Soulfire Grandmaster. Walker going to go up to 27. Davis down to 16. Does Noah have a follow? It looks like the answer is no, so we head back Jim's way. Den Protector the draw here for Davis. Davis, very methodical player.
And post-board, he has to be very mindful of Disdainful Stroke. So what the Abzan deck would like to do in this spot, if at all possible, is play a bunch of good 3-mana spells, Coursers, Nissas, removal spells, and what have you, to make Disdainful Stroke a dead card, and then drag the game out long enough where he can play 2 spells in 1 turn that play over the top of Disdainful Stroke. Not the easiest thing to do, but that's the mission.
Hero's Downfall, the top card here from the Courser. Playing zone on the battlefield, Davis will gain a life. He's up to 16. Now here's Lightning Strike. Gonna go upstairs again, Will Walker. Gonna gain 3 life here as well. 30 to 13. Walker with the Plains. That's a nice follow-up. That's a Dragonlord Ojutai. One of in the main deck this weekend here for Noah Walker.
And this card could potentially jam Davis up big time because he cannot afford to allow Noah to hit him for 5 with Jim, at 13 right now. That's a big hit. And find potentially another burn spell, find something like Dig Through Time. So Jim might have to just leave up mana to protect himself against Dragonlord Ojutai. That's also a good position for Walker. He can do other things with his mana while Jim is sitting on his hands.
Davis up to 14 from the Courser. Forest was the land that entered the battlefield. You see on top of the deck here, Siege Rhino for Davis. No shortage of powerful cards in the Abzan deck. It's just, can you cast them all in time?
I mean, it's very hard for Davis in this spot to cast something like Siege Rhino. Walker getting a hit in with Dragonlord Ojutai is something Jim needs to avoid at all costs.
Well, it looks like Jim's, the way he's separating his mana, this is probably the worst time for him to see a Dragonlord Ojutai on the other side of the table because he wants to cast spells, and I feel like he has to cast spells. And it looks like he might kind of split the difference by just playing a Den Protector face up here.
Yep.
That's better than nothing.
He has to play 2 spells in 1 turn. You look at his hand, he's got Elspeth, the Downfall, Siege Rhino on top of his deck. He has no shortage of things to do with his mana, but he needs to play efficiently at this stage in the face of Dragonlord Ojutai. He can't just say go. Noah's going to untap and play some stuff, and not a good position for Jim to be in. So he's got to do something.
Take a look at this attack. Soulfire Grandmaster just coming in. Right into a 2-4, by the way.
So if this is something like Wild Slash or Magma Spray, Jim doesn't mind. A block either way is fine. I suppose it could be Anger of the Gods, which would be pretty awesome here. And it looks like Jim is just going to go with a safe block here. Trade his face up Den Protector.
I like that block best from Jim's side of the table because I don't know what you got over there.
Yeah.
I can put you on a range of cards, but I don't know what it is.
And getting hit with an Anger in that spot is brutal. Yeah. I know it's a low chance that Walker has it, but that attack is so bizarre because Walker is also on 5 mana. He's getting to the stage where the Soulfire Grandmaster is a real threat that Jim has to answer. So him offering it up like that does not make a lot of sense that it's just a Wild Slash to finish off the Courser. I don't buy it necessarily.
Well, Davis found a land. He drew a Siege Rhino for the turn, Windswept Heath under the battlefield. That's why Jim's up to 15. Top card of the deck is Hero's Downfall. Davis looks like he's going to sacrifice that land. The reason being is he needs another white source for Good old Elspeth. So there is the second planes for Jim Davis. He'll stay at the same life total, of course, because Courser's on the battlefield, so long as he remembers his triggers. And we might see him try to deploy Elspeth right now.
It's a risky spot because of Disdainful Stroke and potentially other counters as well. And I think Jim's going to just go a different path here.
Maybe a Morph is on the way. I'll go with Tassiger instead.
And I like this play a lot from Davis because this is probably good enough to justify a Disdainful Stroke if Walker has it. Davis still, because he has Urborg in play, can leave up the requisite mana to Hero's Downfall, the Dragon Lord Ojutai. And this clears the way, potentially, for Elspeth to resolve next turn, which is what Jim would ideally like.
Well, here's Dig Through time. So perhaps Walker just needs another card in the graveyard to cast a Dig.
Sure. I still like Davis making the simple block there
So
with
do I.
the Face of Dumb Protector. You don't get blown out. You get the Soulfire Grandmaster off the table at a stage of the game where it's threatening to do real things before anything bad happens. And if there's randomly Anger of the Gods hanging out in Walker's hand, then you aren't getting blown out by that.
Walker, of course, taking a look at the top 7. He'll select 2 cards here with the Dig.
But you can see the trouble that Dragon Lord Ojutai creates for Jim, even when Walker isn't attacking with it. Jim has to leave up 3 mana, and for a deck that's filled with so many expensive spells and trying to play around Disdainful Stroke, leaving up this amount of mana is no small task. And Walker may not connect with this Dragon Lord Ojutai in this game, period. That doesn't mean it's doing nothing.
Here's Mantis Rider. Go ahead, get in here with both. Does Walker have a card like Negate here? Maybe to protect his Dragon Lord Ojutai. Does have 2 in his sideboard. Valor Stance will work just fine as well. So a pretty healthy hit. 8 points of damage, trigger the Dragon Lord Ojutai. Very quickly selects a card off of the trigger, so he's found something he's happy with. There's an island, and we're going to head back Jim Davis's way. Abzan Charm the draw, top card, Courser of Crewfix.
And now you can look at Jim's hand. Nothing quite works right. He can play Elspeth the Minus that kills his own Tassiger and only gets rid of the Dragon Lord Ojutai. He can play Siege Rhino that doesn't block anything in the air. He can Abzan Charm to remove one thing, but I believe that's his entire turn. And you can see Walker really getting paid off for the way that he played with this Dragon Lord Ojutai. Wait. All right, now overload all of your mana in a spot where you're jammed up. And now Jim's in this position where he's got a handful of premium cards and may just not have enough time and life to get them all out of his hand.
He needs Courser to continue to find him land so he can do multiple things in one turn, because as you mentioned right now, he is jammed up pretty bad.
For all of his mana, it looks like he's still only going to be able to cast a relevant spell this turn. He's only got 1.
6 damage to be dealt. Walker's got a lot of life to play with because of Soulfire Grandmaster early in the game. That's why he's down to 26. There's Abzan Charm. Gonna need a white mana for that. So there goes the Dragon Lord Ojutai, and now he'll have to pass the turn back. Walker will very quickly draw a card. There's another Mantis Rider. Gonna come across for 6, we'll know. Davis down to 1. Does he have a burn spell to finish off? The answer is no.
Well, he might be playing around Dromoka's command. He
Fair.
still could potentially have a burn spell in hand.
Top card here for Davis, Courser of Crewfix yet again.
And now I believe his hand's a dead end. Rhinos only get him to 4.
2 Elspeths do nothing.
Yep.
And then Courser does nothing. So Noah Walker's going to win game number 2 here over Jim Davis. Jeskai aggro, Abzan control. They're getting ready for a 3rd game here.
And you saw Walker's sideboard definitely came to bear there. On top of that, the way that he played that game was very uncomfortable for Davis because Walker made him sit there with 3 mana up the whole game. And Walker only initiated an attack with Dragon Lord Ojutai when he was ready to counter the Hero's Downfall with Valorous Stance. Very, very good sideboard. Very, very well navigated game there by Walker.
Star City Games YouTube page is what we'll talk about right now before game number 3, where you can watch the replay of this match, this entire Open, and a whole bunch more.
Yeah, a lot goes up on that page. Versus Series videos, premium archives, Open Series archives, and content that's exclusive to the page, like unboxings. Head over to youtube.com/StarCityGames, become a subscriber to the page, get updated when new content is uploaded, and new content is getting uploaded all the time.
Game number 3 here between Noah Walker and Jim Davis here in just a moment. Now, of course, we know Jim Davis quite a bit. We see him a lot on the Open Series. He's going to be headed to the Players' Championship. For Noah Walker, the 19-year-old from Amherst, Massachusetts, we don't see a lot of him. 4 Open Series top picks with 1 win earlier this year in Legacy. Claims to be amazing at DDR.
I believe it.
I actually probably believe it, too. I was never good at that game. Yourself?
I am not good.
No?
Well, I went to an arcade in Portland recently where, for a novice, apparently, I'm way above expectation, but still a novice.
It's a very hard game.
Yeah.
It's a very hard game. I always enjoyed playing it, though, making a fool out of myself. And apparently his favorite color is blue, both in Magic and outside of Magic as well. Though, when we do see Noah play, and we think about his win earlier this year in the Open Series, he is always playing blue decks. I don't ever see him playing stuff like Abzan.
No, he plays decks that have a lot of play to them.
Yep.
A lot of things going on the opponent's turn. Legacy, it's easy to do that because the best decks typically are blue spell decks of some sort. So not a big surprise, but his tendency to play Jeskai in Standard to me indicates that this is just something he likes to do.
I disapprove of his blue strategies.
And you can see why with that second game. I think he did a very, very good job of playing around Davis's responses, making Davis play the game in a very awkward fashion, and then really punishing him once Walker had a hand that was set up.
Very patient with the Dragon Roach time.
Yep.
Forcing Jim into his position he didn't want to be put in, and then taking advantage with the Mantis Rider, and then taking the game from there.
Yep. So, there was a slight risk with the line of play he took because Languish would have undone everything. But in a spot where Davis has Courser and is clearly relying on it, maybe he doesn't have Languish, and even if he does, Davis is also getting set back a fair bit there as well. So a reasonable card to risk.
Well, game number 3 going to be underway here between Jim Davis and Noah Walker in just a moment. Davis will take a look at his opening hand. He'll be on the play.
And I talked to Davis before the tournament started here. He's starting to feel some pressure for this tournament too. You know, he qualified on points in season 1. He stopped attending events, and now his buys are at risk, and qualifying for the Players' Championship next year on points looks like it might be more and more daunting. So even though he's qualified for the Players' Championship, he feels like he needs to start performing well in some of these tournaments.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't played as much as he did during season 1 because he wanted to get the qualification out of the way during season 1. So that's why he saw him in basically every tournament.
And we saw the same thing in 2014 with Brian Brondo when he got the invite on points very early on, stopped attending events, and he shows up to Opens now. He has no buys.
Yep.
He's way outside of the race for the Players' Championship on points. And Jim is trying to avoid that fate for next year. So you see he's in 11th. At the end of season 3, he was in 1st or 2nd place. He was still very high on the standings, but there's a lot of people now showing up for events, and he's starting to feel that, 2016 could be a concern if he doesn't start doing well in some of these Open Series events.
Top card to the bottom here for Davis with the Temple of Silence. Underway here in game number 3, a Temple of Epiphany here for Noah Walker. We'll see where he wants to scry the top card. Looks like he's going to put it to the bottom. To Davis we go. He's got a Windswept Heath in hand. Just picked up another copy as well. Also a couple copies of Den Protector, Hero's Downfall over there. So it looks to be a pretty good hand here for Jim. There's a Windswept Heath. And to Noah Walker we will go. An Island, a Jace. A card demanding an answer. And Davis will draw a copy of Courser of Crewfix.
I believe Davis with Downfall in hand, but no access to double black right now. Temple of Silence and 2 copies of Windswept Heath. Might have to play just Courser Crewfix this turn, allowing Walker to untap with Jace.
Davis will sacrifice both those Windswept Heaths. He's down to 18. I guess in order for him to cast Courser too, it's got to be double Forest. So his mana is a little bit awkward right now.
Yeah, now something like Abzan Charm is also off the table for the time being.
Yep.
It is a slight consequence of Nissa being in the deck. There's more Forest, there's more, Windswept Heaths, and as a result of that, having black mana on time is more challenging than it used to be.
Top card of the deck is Self-Inflicted Wound here for Jim Davis. Walker will draw. Jace will go active. Jim would like to block it, but Noah has no interest in attacking with the 0-2.
Yeah. My favorite response to someone activating Jace is just saying block.
Yep. Self-inflicted wound to draw. Top card, Elspeth. Yuck. Not what the doctor ordered here for Jim Davis.
And Abzan can be a little clunky out of the gates here, especially so with colored mana issues and missing land drops. Deck doesn't really get the ball rolling until turn 5, turn 6, and that's assuming that it's making its land drops most of the way through. Now you see plays like this.
Yeah, Morphin Den Protector. Simply pass the turn back. Walker will untap with his Jace yet again. Take a draw step here. Jace will be activated. No, we'll draw and discard here. We saw him discard a redundant copy of Jace last time. Interested to see what he'll discard this time.
But with Davis floundering on his mana a little bit here, very important for Walker to kill, and really either creature will do. The Den Protector converts into a land. Courser may yield a land.
Not going to yield a land this time. Hero's Downfall on top of the deck. Though Jim can't unmegamorph that Den Protector. Get back a land.
It's a starting point. At least it's something. You know, the fact that the Windswept Heath doesn't generate black mana is really bad for Jim. Now that Hero's Downfall is of paramount importance to cast as soon as possible, but at least he makes a land drop.
I guess Den Protector can come in and give the beatdowns too, so how about that? He'll unmorph for 4 damage. It'll get a counter. Windswept Heath will be returned. There's a Valorous Stance. Goodbye, Courser. 3 damage to be dealt to Walker. As we mentioned, Davis does have a land to play now in Windswept Heath. Now I think we might see him pass the turn.
I think the only castable cards in his hand, Self-Inflicted Wound, that doesn't do anything. Face-up Den Protector, Jim's got bigger plans for that.
Does even less. For Walker, Stoke the Flames, going to go after Den Protector. That's card number 4 for the graveyard. And Jace going to flip now. Now you got to ask yourself, if you're Jim Davis, how many untapped black sources do I have in my deck to be able to Hero's Downfall that thing right away? Because we know Jim's going to sacrifice that Windswept Heath, and he's got to find a way to get this Jace off the battlefield before it really starts to run away with the game. The discard is Soulfire Grandmaster. The Telepath Unbound is going to show up now.
No, I wonder why Noah was in such a rush to flip this turn. I guess he gets to put one more loyalty on it. I don't know if that's better than getting one more loot next turn.
Sure.
He could loot first and then Stoke or use a remote if he wanted to. This sets up Jace Telepath Unbound to minus twice over the next 2 turns if Noah wants it. So it's not like there's no upside to it. Just I think that I probably would have valued getting one more loot. Although Walker immediately paid off for this line of play as Jim has drawn ultimate price.
Sure.
So there you go.
Yeah. Twist and turns.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
See, what do you know? That's why we're in here. That's why we're in here.
That's why I'm hanging out with you.
See what Jim Davis is up to now.
Well, a lot of his plays are really bad now.
Yeah.
He either can't cast them, or he's just putting Den Protector face down, can't follow up with anything, and then Walker can kill it very easily by minusing Jace and getting a removal spell out of the graveyard.
Not an enviable spot.
Davis at least has to force the action here, but this is getting ugly.
You can see Walker actually in his hand has a copy of Negate too. Negate's going to offer a lot of protection here for Noah. All right, here's a Jace. This Jace is going to take down, Stoke the Flames, take care of this.
Good looking turn.
Yeah, can't complain with that. Jace is everywhere. Creature's dying. Davis needs black mana real bad. Abzan Charm.
So
Ugh.
at least something he can resolve in the hunt for a land.
Yeah.
If he Abzan Charms, finds a black mana that comes into play untapped, ultimate prices the Jace, it's an okay turn.
He's getting somewhere then. Sandstep Citadel, Windswept Heath. Well, Not perfect, but
It'll have to do.
yep, better than nothing here for Jim. Walker will untap. Time to draw. Elevator going up on Jace, past the turn back. Noah Walker had the ability that turn to play Dragonlord Ojutai. Could have cast Elspeth too, but leaving a wall up of mana makes you curious what for.
I think that it's got to be something beyond negate. I think Walker's proactive cards are good enough at this point that it's possibly sitting on something like negate plus dig through time.
Davis starting to reach for some mana here. He does have a Courser to play, so he'll give this a shot. That'll resolve. Llanowar Waste is here. All right. Jim going to gain a life. Though this has really felt like Noah Walker's game through and through, looks like Jim Davis is doing a little bit of fighting here.
Well, Walker has put him under no pressure, and Davis has a lot of cards in his hand, certainly. So there's an issue of how good is Walker's leftovers.
Oh, here's dig through time. So his leftovers, well, they were already pretty good, and I think they're about to get a lot better.
That's what I was saying before. I think Noah's hand of proactive cards was good enough that just negate would not have been enough to rationalize him doing nothing on his turn. But negate plus dig through time, I'm happy with Walker sitting back for one turn and then starting to play threats with negate back up. Very good position to be in.
Also, Walker's graveyard has been trimmed down a little bit now, too, so that Jace that he has on the battlefield can stick around for a little longer.
Yep. You can start looting with that Jace as well.
Start fixing up the draw steps. Looks like still in Walker's end step here. Going to discard, on Davis's end step. Discard Elspeth. That'll show some strength. Discarding that card?
Well, I think that represents that Walker is trying to set up Dragonlord Ojutai with negate back up.
Sure. Looks like Davis, while Walker is down to just one mana, he's going to cut his ultimate price. Get this Jace out of here. I think pretty important play there for Jim. Jace going to take up, slow down Courser. There's Dragonlord Ojutai with negate backup, just like you mentioned.
Yeah, this is the board that Walker was trying to set up here, and this is ultimately the punishment for how much Jim stumbled here, is this setup now. Jim firmly on the back foot, though. Self-inflicted wounds very good here, and this might force the issue on the negate. For Jim, being able to force negate from a cheap spell is a win.
It's really important. Hero's Downfall on top of the deck there from the Courser. Though it has felt like a runaway the entire time here for Noah Walker, as you mentioned, no pressure.
Yeah. Well, the battle is going to be really fought over this Dragonlord Ojutai over the next turn or two. If Davis can answer it, he's got an Elspeth in hand, we've got a game. If Walker keeps this alive and chains together a couple counter spells to fend off Davis's plays, then Walker's going to bury him.
Jim does have a copy of Languish to cast. There could be some interest in doing that right now. And there is. So Languish is going to take care of Dragonlord Ojutai. Walker will be left with a Jace Telepath Unbound on the battlefield, and we'll see what he can do with it.
The issue with this line of play here, I'm not saying this is a mistake from Jim, he's in a tough spot, is Noah can flashback dig through time. He's got the ability to fire back up. It's not like only Dragonlord Ojutai was allowing him to play the card advantage game.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do right now. He'll flashback dig, remove the graveyard, take a look at the top 7. And of course, take 2 cards with him. Looks like he's found 2 Mantis Riders. There's also a Jace and a dig through time there, so a lot of options here for Walker.
You know, if Jim felt that, Walker's only making this line of play if he can protect the Dragonlord Ojutai, this is his one spot to resolve Languish, that's okay. But this is a very tough spot for Jim as Walker is going to be able to gas right back up, still have Jace in play. And if Walker has counter spells in his hand to fend off Jim's Elspeths or Hero's Downfalls or whatever the case may be, this is going to be a challenging game for Davis to win.
Here's Mantis Rider. That'll come in for 3. Davis down to 13. Davis will draw.
To say nothing of the implications of Disdainful Stroke. That's another very problematic card here for Jim. as he's got to get to Elspeth at some point to be able to get back in this game.
Hero's downfall. That'll take care of Mantis Rider on Walker's upkeep. Jace is ticking up to 3. Now here's Elspeth.
Again, suspiciously leaving up 2 mana.
Here's an attempt. And it'll work.
Noah doesn't even have to fight over this Elspeth if he doesn't want to. He's got 3 tokens in play.
Yep.
He's got a clock.
Elspeth is left behind relevant things.
Yeah. It's possible he feels like Negate is better served countering, let's say, Jim's Elspeth,
Yeah.
rather than protecting his own.
If Noah has a negate in his hand is the question. And it appears he does not. So,
Okay.
Elspeth resolves here for Jim Davis. And now he has the Elspeth advantage. Walker going to very quickly sacrifice a Flooded Strand. There's a Plains. Under 5 minutes left to go here in game number 3. Each player's playing at a pretty quick pace here. They want to get this one done. Jace will tick up. Here come Elspeth tokens. One of those Elspeth tokens, a useless blocker, but it looks like all of them will block. Walker will have to lose 2 tokens, not 1. Walker should lose 2 tokens, not 1.
Open players, that is time of the round. Active player, please finish your turn and receive the 5 additional turns to finish your match. If you have a time extension, there's
And now here's Courser. Ochai's command going to counter Courser very quickly. And draw and counter. But Davis is the one with the active Elspeth. Now here's Ochai's command again. This might be gain 4 and draw a card. It looks like it is. Walker up to 18, very quickly untapping and drawing. Looking for some help here is Noah Walker. As Jim Davis has kind of climbed all the way back here, and he might actually be the one in the lead at this point.
Well, an unchecked Elspeth is a lot better than what Walker does on a card-for-card basis. It's also not an easy card for him to get off the table once it resolves.
What's next here for Noah Walker? Looks like he's going to flash back Ochai's command. Needs to get it even deeper into his deck. There's a mountain. Pass the turn back. Davis with Obzon Charm. He'll give it a spin. Pay 2 life. Draw 2 cards. That will resolve Davis down to 10. He'll untap relatively quickly. He'll draw a card. Siege Rhino in there. Now it looks like he's the one getting on the aggressive. Oh, yeah. There goes Jace. 3 more tokens. Elspeth up to 7. Davis going to try a Siege Rhino. Will this resolve? It looks like the answer is no. Disdainful Stroke will take care of that. Davis with only lands in hand. Here's Ochai's command from Walker. Looks like he wants to get his Jace back. And draw a card. It's not, he'll untap. It's time for him to draw. We are very deep in the late game here.
Yeah, Noah's gotten a lot of looks at a lot of cards, but I just don't know how many of his cards do anything about Elspeth in play.
And Jace's going to go active. Draw, discard, flip. Telepath Unbound now. Starts with 5 counters, going to go up to 6. Slow down a token. Mantis Rider. It's a good way to solve the problem of Elspeth. Got to start chipping away at some point.
Yep.
Down to 4 now. Davis will untap very quickly. He'll draw. These guys are going to play a little bit of speed magic here. Nissa the draw here for Jim Davis.
And Walker has fired off a fair number of Ochai's commands at this point.
Absolutely. So here is Nissa. That'll resolve. Jim going to search up a basic forest, assuming he has any left in the deck. And he does. So that'll be the land he gets. I think that'll be the land he plays to flip over Nissa. The Sage Animist is here. Starts at 3. The question is, which way does Jim want to go, up or down? Both appear to be pretty appealing options at this point.
My preference, I think, is for going up, as I think that Jim has the tools to go wide here. And Walker's best way to get out of this is probably with some sort of sweeper. So I'd rather just accumulate some cards.
Case Coilos. Milan will just enter the battlefield, nothing crazy. And Davis grabbing those tokens.
Yeah, Davis trying to prevent Walker from flashing back a card drawing spell.
Yep, gonna slow down Jace. It's down to 3. If you're gonna flash back, you're gonna have to use the entire thing. Makes a lot of sense there for Davis. Walker will draw. Here's Dig.
The problem here for Davis is can still easily get burned out.
Oh yeah, we saw that almost in game 1. And Walker's got some relevant cards in his hand. He has a Disdainful Stroke over there that can stop a Siege Rhino and some other things. So there's some relevant cards, and he's looking to add some more relevant cards, Jeskai Charm among them. There's also a Valorous stance in that dig through time.
Keep in mind, Walker's list is a little bit lighter on burn than most Jeskai aggro lists that we see.
Dig through time done resolving. And it looks like as the clock winds down, Noah Walker is going to be turns 0, 2, and 4. Jim Davis turns 1, 3, and 5. So these players will take a breather. And get ready for our final turns here as standard. As you know, the games have a lot of interaction back and forth. Nothing slow, nothing quick about them, excuse me.
But if Noah has picked up Jeskai Charm with the flashback, that should do it if Jim doesn't have a removal spell.
And I think, yeah, I believe as Jim is flipping over his Nissa, that is going to do it. The Jeskai Charm, flash it back with Jace, and then 3 with the Mantis Rider. 4 plus 4 plus 3. That'll get the job done. That'll be 11, and Noah Walker is going to win this match here over Jim Davis, 2 games to 1. Jeskai Aggro will take care of Obzon Control in a very fun back-and-forth affair. But for Noah Walker, he gets a W over our Season 1 points champion, and he moves on to 3-0.
Yeah, that was